Hello, friends. My name is host Eric. I am the host, once again, of Talking with Famous People. This is not the first time I've been the host of Talking with Famous People. Very unlikely to be the last time I'm the host of Talking with Famous People. But this is a time that's very, very, very important. Because don't you dare not join stream. That's the name of this stream. And if I'm going to warn everybody not to dare to miss it, it's pretty important. I mean, I acknowledge it's risky to miss any of my streams because you never know when that one life-changing bit of wisdom is going to emerge from my wisdom spewing mouth. But this one especially, if you were to dare to miss it, you'd be unable thereafter to dare to dream. Okay? Now look, I want you to remember something. This really shows you how important the title is. Do you know what Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech was originally called? Shit I came up with while sleeping. It didn't work nearly as well, right? So titles are really important. I too have a dream. I have a dream that no one ever dares not join this stream. I have a dream that when I go live streaming, the entire world immediately rushes to their computer, phone, tablet, or other viewing device to join in the festivities. I have a dream that everybody super chats me $100. I have a dream. Make myself a new cup of coffee if you're wondering what I'm doing over here, what all the rigmarole is about over there, and why I'm not sitting in front of the camera. Well, probably should have made it before I started the live stream, but you know how it goes. So today we're talking about the wisdom of Martin Luther King. And what is his wisdom? What's the one message we can all take away from Martin Luther King? Having dreams is important. Okay. Well, that's a lesson too. If you're going to be a leader in the fight for racial justice, don't go to motels in the South. Generally good advice. I wonder if while he was standing there in his room in the South, in the motel or on the balcony or wherever he was, if when that racist guy was raising the rifle to shoot him, if Martin Luther King had suddenly broken into a shuck and jive, whether the guy would have said, never mind. Like, if he was looking through the scope, and all of a sudden Martin Luther King goes, well, yes, sir, Mr. Then maybe he wouldn't have gotten shot. I wonder if that would have satisfied the racist assassin. I would like to get a job in customer service someplace, or like at a hotel where people approach me and ask me questions. Maybe just like a janitor where I go around and change the garbage cans out or whatever. Or maybe something like, general services or something where people come up and talk to you. And then every time a customer, excuse me, hi, yeah, excuse me. My wife Judy here isn't really feeling well. I wonder if there's some sort of bodega nearby where I could pick up a couple of analgesics. And then whatever their sort of request was, I respond, well, yes, sir, Mr. Customer, sir. That bodega right over there. Let's see what they say. If I kept it in character all day long, I mean, eventually people would just think, well, that's just how he is. He just acts like that. Wasn't the assassin Freddy Krueger since Martin Luther King kept having dreams? Well, the thing is, it was a race between Freddy Krueger on the dream half and James Earl Jones. Is that the guy who shot him? James Earl Jones, who shot Martin Luther King? Yes, those who dare win, those who daren't shan't. So, anywho, if you really want to empower a movement, martyr their leader. If there's not, like, didn't James Earl Jones ever watch Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope? What happens when Darth Vader cuts down Ben Kenobi? Does Ben Kenobi become less powerful? No. He becomes even more powerful. By being dead and not able to do anything, he's even more powerful than before. Today's live stream is an extended, James Earl Ray. What did I say? Earl Ray Jones or something like that? Whatever. James Earl Ray, James Earl Jones. Is James Earl Jones the guy who goes, the voice of Simba's father? Darth Vader's voice actor? James Earl Jones doesn't even have a body? Yeah, I had Darth Vader killing him? Okay, well, he's also the Lion King's dad, right? So maybe it's nicer if we imagine, what's the Lion King's dad's name? What's Simba's dad's name? Mufasa. It's nicer to think that instead of Darth Vader killing Martin Luther King, it was Mufasa. Because then at least Martin Luther King provided nutrition to the lion herd. It's a circle of life. Martin Luther King started out as grass and he ended up as grass again, with a lion mauling in between. It's more environmentally friendly, does it, INTJ? That's the thing. Yeah, I do want to mauled by a lion instead of shot because I care about the environment. Well, I agree. You go down in history as a notable victim if you get slashed by Darth Vader's lightsaber. However, again, haven't you ever seen Lion King, Raphael Avellanos? No, it goes like this. The grass grows. The antelopes eat the grass. Martin Luther King eats the antelopes. The lions eat Martin Luther King. The lions poop. The poop grows up, fertilizes the grass again. Just like that. The circle of life. God, haven't you ever seen The Lion King? Now, look, here's the thing, Running Fox. I agree that if the lion had simply mailed Martin Luther King someplace, then that wouldn't have been very impressive. Martin Luther King would just had to wait until the postman delivered him wherever the lion had mailed him. However, being mauled by a lion could spark conspiracy theories, because here's the trick about lions, and here's why they make good assassins. If you're going to try to get an assassin, let's say it was a lion that had been programmed at Montauk in the psychological experience. Okay, so now the lion's doing normal lion stuff, hanging out with the pride, making the chicks do all the work, eating the food they bring back. Normal lion stuff, okay? So, but he's been programmed by Montauk, and his CIA code word is cherry blossom. So, and a average normal thing, the guy's taking his lion for a walk down the street in the South, just like normal, like any other day. But he doesn't know that his pet lion, is actually this secretly Montauk trained lion. The CIA agent walks by, casual as everything, holding a newspaper like this, in a trench coat with a hat, and he says, cherry blossom. And the lion, it's like the psychological training kicks in. The lion runs up to the hotel, sniffs around until he smells Martin Luther King, because the CIA has a piece of Martin Luther King's clothes in it. It keeps having the lion smell it so that it gets to know what Martin Luther King smells like. The lion mauled and killed Martin Luther King. Now, all of a sudden, he snaps out of it. Oh my God, what have I done? But here's the advantage of using a lion. When the police arrest the lion and take him downtown to question him, all he will ever say is roar. Now, if your name is Roar and you were the one who set this up, then you could possibly be, he could snitch on you. However, if your name's anything but Roar, then you're pretty good. Probably the lion can't give them any useful information. Hambone, can you just put the TE away for a minute, okay? Just put the TE away. Amy, why? What does she claim she is? Here's the thing about that video. I sort of made it out of enthusiasm for the idea. I'm going to redo that video with some graphics and stuff explaining the thing well. I might even take that video down in 2024. Yeah. And I put up a video earlier. I don't want to go through the whole thing right now because it's kind of like policy wonk shit. Like pretty much nobody wants to hear a bunch of policy wonk shit. But the point is, it's a good economic plan that removes the Federal Reserve, continues to infuse the economy with new currency, produces a possibly very small but nevertheless growing UBI.
It's hot.
So Amy Y says she's an INTJ. This looks like a perfect type police person, actually. I would say, yeah, this seems perfect. I'll do it in a little bit. Correct, AK4077. Now you can take me seriously. It's like, what I'm thinking is, why even bother with this whole running myself thing? I'll just get a mentally disabled person who will do what I say, dress him up real nice and shiny, and then he can be president. Because after all, as AK4077 references here, it is all about the cover and never about the book. Torva Shepherd's here. Thank God. You didn't dare to not join the stream. Yes, Hambone, exactly. The Dick Cheney strategy. You can believe that George W. Bush asked Dick Cheney to make him a list of possible vice presidential candidates that he could use in his campaign, or that he could pick as a vice presidential candidate. And Dick Cheney gave him a list with one name on it, and that name was Dick Cheney. Mm. I think what I'm going to do instead is actually just run for president myself. I am really loving this aha moment of mine last night, because I've been struggling to understand how the labor standard that I've been reading, because it's because this new topic is an incredibly complicated topic. Federal jobs guarantee. It's basically saying, hey, let's do a New Deal civilian whatever core, and W whatever thing that they had back then to, I don't know, make some new national parks or fix infrastructure or whatever. But I really genuinely believe I saw a hole in it. That it's weird how these economists, it was like people go and get PhDs in economy and stuff like that, economics, and people get Nobel Prizes in economics. But when I read these things and I look at the various sort of vectors they're talking about and managing economies on a micro level and different ways to do it and different ways to stabilize prices, blah, 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 I'm increasingly convinced that that economics is like cognitive functions. That it's like they're missing some key details here, and then once they put it together, then everything makes sense. But the key detail that they're missing is the one that I keep insisting to everybody, and I never really gotten any response from anybody about, which is wealth is a metaphysical thing first. It's not a physical thing first. And so the biggest problem that we have is not understanding that the currency that we infuse into the economy represents the new wealth created every time people do meaningful work for other people. And so if you think of wealth as being something tangible first, rather than something intangible first, then you're going to always run afoul of some basic problem. So this labor standard seems like a fine enough idea. It's basically like a gold standard, but you can only trade in the material quarterly. Like there's a period in which you can buy and sell futures, and then the next quarter it right? And those things link to basically the GDP or to aggregate wages or something like that. But of course, how does it stop deflationary pressures? The money's going to become more and more and more and more valuable because the total currency supply doesn't increase. And there'll be this artificial incentive as a consequence to not buy the futures because your money's going to increase regardless just by holding on to it, because more meaningful work will be done, more total wealth will be in the country, but the same amount of money, same amount of currency will represent that total amount of wealth. So the solution that I came up with, which I think is absolutely brilliant, is to link it with my crypto tax UBI thing and have it work like this. The crypto revenue, the crypto tax revenue that comes from the 1%, the 1% transaction fee on the crypto is used by the U.S. central bank to purchase the standard commodity. And then at the quarter, when the standard commodity comes due and you convert it, so like let's say the government bought it at $5, bought one for every citizen at $5. Let's say it went up to $6. Then the government buys all of those commodities now that they bought in the name of each citizen, so to speak. They buy them from each of the citizens automatically, but they pay the citizens in newly printed US dollars. So that's how you infuse new currency into the economy while still having it linked to the labor standard, and can currently create a UBI that's real, that actually is linked to amount of economic activity and will grow accordingly. No, labor doesn't increase wealth, it creates wealth. So anytime anybody does something meaningful for another person, they've created beholdens. And beholdens is the abstract principle underlying wealth. In other words, Legends Fall, if I went over to your house and helped you paint your garage, then you'd owe me one. right? Let's say you wanted me to help you next week, come and paint your bedroom. Well, I go, okay, or now you really owe me one, or you owe me two. And let's say the next week you wanted me to come and help you paint your kitchen. I'd say, okay, you're either going to have to pay me or do some massive favor in response for me, right? That's because the wealth has already been created. The wealth of me helping you has been created. Namely, I have provided utility for you, and it has created beholdens. That beholdens comprises wealth. Now, because people are continually doing useful things for each other, the total amount of wealth in the world continues to increase. So we used to think that wealth linked to resources and to how much productivity you could get out of those resources. So in other words, a person who can make chairs efficiently will be more wealthy than a person who can make chairs inefficiently. But if you think about it, that's just what I'm saying. New wealth is created when people do useful work for one another. So obviously, if you're less useful, then you're going to create less wealth. If you take a longer time to build a chair, then you're going to generate less wealth. Okay, well, I mean, the point is, it links to the choice to do useful work for somebody else. Okay, so yes, obviously, the more productive a country is, the more new wealth the country will create. But that's not the same thing as saying that. But see, labor does not increase wealth because it promotes spending and creates a wealthy economy. Where does it come from in the first place? See, this is what nobody ever thinks about. Where does the wealth come from in the first place? Because people say, well, labor increases wealth because it promotes spending and helps the economy. Okay, but then, at a certain point, society is like a cash poker game. There's a rake. If we didn't increase the total number of wealth, if we didn't bring new money to the table, eventually the house would take it all. So if you and me and 8 other people sit around a poker table, each with $100, we get chips and we play a cash game at a casino, and we play until we can't play anymore. Well, what will happen is we will all have zero money, and the house will have all of the money, just based on the rake. So the idea that wealth has occurred simply because it's moving around is incorrect. Wealth is not merely moving around. The thing is, when I'm attaining utility from others, I'm giving them my wealth. When I'm providing utility for others, I'm creating new wealth abstractly. But what happens is they give me their existing wealth. But if we were to just keep imagining people passing back and forth their existing wealth, then it would seem like nobody would ever be able to get ahead without somebody else getting behind. But wealth is not a zero-sum game. In other words, for me to get wealthier, somebody else doesn't have to get poorer. Not in reality. Money makes it seem like that. But just because, so let's say I'm missing the one piece to complete this vintage restoration I am doing of something very valuable. And I find the one piece, and I have to pay $40 for it. I pay $40 for it. I forget the one piece. I put it in my vintage restoration. Now I sell the vintage restoration for $10,000. That $40 was part of my expenses to getting profit. For that other guy who received my $40, that's part of his profit. But at the end of the day, meaningful work was done. So it's not just that $40 receiver guy and $10,000 receiver guy got gains. Presumably the guy who paid for the restored thing got a gain too, namely the objects he wanted. And while he may have had to lose some of his money, if the thing's worth that much, he didn't lose any total wealth. So we have to account for the fact that the labor itself, like Legends Falls says, is a resource that has value. That when homie puts the time and energy into restoring the thing, that has value too. And yet we have no concrete representation of that value. The object itself has value that is now attained by the purchaser of it. So what about the time and energy that he put into it? Well, that's represented by the profit that he gets from having done it. But if we didn't account for the fact that now there's more wealth in the country, in other words, there used to be a broken thing that wasn't worth anything. Now there's a valuable vintage, So that's an extra $10,000 of value in the world that was created because something that was broken and worthless has become fixed and valuable. So if you were to say whatever, let's say there was a total amount of wealth in the world of $100 trillion. Now there's $100 trillion and plus $10,000. But we have only moved existing money around. We haven't generated that additional $10,000 to account for it. That's why the state needs to continue to infuse new currency, or else you have deflation, which is to say everybody's currency gets more valuable the longer you hold on to it. When you have a circumstance of deflation, then you have a circumstance where people are disincentivized from engaging in economic activities because all they have to do is nothing to get richer. I am a meat robot. I'm a meat robot and you're a neat shoe hot. Let me talk to my dad about the bathroom. So, Dad, let me tell you, I'm not quite done cleaning up in there, but it turns out, once I got the thing off and everything, that all along it was designed so you can fix it from underneath the house.
It's cost $800 to get somebody under the house.
Okay, well now you can get to it from the side.
Okay, but
yes,
can you, if you have time, you have long arms, can you reach the cutoff valve?
For this.
Right there. So I can show you where it is.
Okay, sure.
It's just a question to turn it off.
Okay, I'll be there in 5 minutes, okay?
Sure.
Thanks. So, me and Rachel's bathtub in the master bedroom has been leaking since I moved in here. I told my dad about it right away. You know that bathtub's leaking. Yeah, I know. And I told him about it again at some point. Oh, it's getting worse, Dad. You know, usually I tell him about it when he complains about the water bill. Well, Dad, you know, I keep telling you that's a bad leak. He gets a plumber out. The plumber says, I can't fix this because I'm likely to break the part that needs to be replaced, and I won't be able to get to it because of the way that it's designed. So in other words, it's like all the plumbing parts are locked in the bathtub behind this sort of concrete cage that the bathtub sits in. So then, you know, we brought the plumbers out a second time, a second opinion about it, and they said the same thing. So I mentioned to my dad at some point after that, like, well, you know, when he complains about the water bill, well, it's that bathtub, Dad. Yeah, it is getting worse. Today he comes out here and he yells at me because why didn't I tell him the bathtub was getting worse? It's like I told him like 4 or 5 times. We've talked about it 4 or 5 times. He's made it clear to me that we're not doing anything about the goddamn bathtub. And then today he comes out and yells at me for not, you know, it's like, okay, Dad. So you're right. Like I said, let me just cut through these tiles things here and we'll take them off and we'll look at it. Unfortunately, it's a lot more robust of a bathtub setup than I would have anticipated. All the tiles are not pushed on with a little bit of like mortar or whatever. There's a 3-inch thick concrete thing that I had to cut through with my circular saw. Finally, I got it off, only to notice, oh fuck, this thing was designed to be fixed from underneath the house. I could have just crawled underneath the house and done this. Of course, but my dad just said is, but if you get a plumber and they have to go into the house, it costs $800 just for them to go underneath the house. I mean, I'll go underneath the house for no money. I'm gonna put on a little bit of music for you guys to listen to while I'm going to check out this plumbing issue here. So if you look up at the screen, you're like, "Where's Eric gone?" Don't worry, I've not disappeared. I'm not spontaneously combusted. I'm merely doing something real quick, and I'll be right back. People everywhere it's a sign. How do they set their priorities? These falling backstabbing entities, ensuing heartache and misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck with such petty larceny. We all partition the records and call it destruction of the whole damn world. Julie shares that we're living, hoping Julie will do. Hoping Julie will do. Jerry shares for minutes. He just can't do things like they do. Julie always thought that she should have got to when she had the chance to buy. Julie soon forgot about soon and not although she ever called. People everywhere gather up, enemies outraged at how they miss a sign. How do they set their priorities? These foreign backstabbing entities, ensuing heartache and misery, follow necessarily from their savage ways. Insulting Carson and Desiree, we're stuck in such petty larceny. We all partition the rectories and cause destruction of the whole damn world. 30,000 days, too many expectations, not even worth a damn. 30,000 nights to sleep off the intoxication, otherwise you won't escape the plan. I wasted half my days trying on another's way, but who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody who's the key? 'Cause I'm tired of doing it wrong. Want direction and have all along. Wait until I know. Or is that just hesitation? Clarity's no good once your chance is gone. What I need to show, is it so below my station? I'm tired of doing it wrong. I wasted half my days trying on others' ways. Who can tell me my priorities? Is there anybody knows the key? 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. 'Cause I think I'm doing this wrong. Doing this wrong. Oh, he came here with her. And what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate blaming to blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him, going to the gym, make yourself good enough again. Yeah, you guys both have lots invested. That's not a reason to stay around. Through the years, you've both been tested. Time to move up and higher ground. So he came here with her. And what's the big problem that you can't endure? You seem so sure it's not appropriate blaming to blame things on Scott. Despite getting caught, he's got you reframing for him, straining for him, going to the gym, make yourself good enough again. Be done with him. If Jesus was people but absent of sin, he must then have struggled with regular men and women, of course, when they too were present. Disciples all warily eyeing the lesson. Once they're betrayed, the easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naive is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. If people were Jesus, they'd know what they think, and everyone's word would be true. And feelings once spoken would sit where they sing, and we'd all know just what to do. People like Jesus, once they're betrayed, the easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naive is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. No one you thought you knew, acts like you never have met. The life you made for two, has faded into regret. Boom, 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 boom. Thanks, darling. It's all part and parcel of being a meat robot. No one unshaken, we all have been shook. But being forsaken don't mean you're forsook. Though in the past you've been hung out to dry, or climbing the lies, we just have to try. People like Jesus, once they're betrayed, the easy believing forever is lost. Maybe naive is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost. Maybe naive is not to be saved, but the wise pay a terrible cost.
Got a story about 10 years old. It's a song for an open road, and such a thing must always do its job. She married up just turned 19, 4 years in and 3 kids. We are now questioning the past. Agency, faces stretch up, walking in our courses, way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always grow.
Once for you
Dug
all
at
the line
29
hand.
Farming
Okay.
Garden, likewise dug at 21, and so forth, well up
Transcendental
into middle
environment.
age. But he once thought would set him free. He became his whole identity.
I hear my son's done there. Over
Drunken
line hand.
agency outpaces discretion, locking in our forces way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always grow. Everybody's panicked about the kids. I come up with extra dexedrine and mathematics to promote success, or to impose more unjust duress. Agency outpaces discretion, locking in our forces way too young. The urgency conferred is really just depression, making sure those underneath them always grow. Without consent, it's really just depression by parasites surviving while they feed their fear of dying. Yes, they feed upon the futures of the young.
Okay, so what I want to talk to you about a little bit is River and Joaquin Phoenix. First of all, if you want to doom your child, then make it such they have no first name. For example, Northwest. There's no first name there. Or River Phoenix. Neither of those things are a first name. Beige Dawn. Beige Dawn, neither of those is a first name. If you have no first name, you are already under a dark cloud of bad luck. Now, when I was at UC Santa Cruz, and River Phoenix was still alive, River and Joaquin Phoenix came to the Kresge dormitories / student apartments, whatever you want to call them. And I was there hanging out with my first girlfriend's house, basically. The other girls that were in that house. And River Phoenix came to pick up Nikki Selmo, a girl who I called Sicky Nelmo. But anyway, her name was Nikki Selmo. And I guess she knew him from high school or something. This was 89, 90, 90. Actually, this must have been 91 because my girlfriend was there. And the thing is this. River Phoenix didn't come inside. He sent Joaquin Phoenix in to get Siggy Nelmo. So I actually met Joaquin Phoenix briefly as he came in to pick up Nikki. He's just like, hi. Nobody knew who he was, though, right? Everybody knew who River Phoenix was. Nobody knew. Joaquin Phoenix wasn't famous at all at that point. The only Phoenix that existed, as far as anybody was concerned, was River. So he could send out his brother Joaquin Phoenix, formerly known as Leaf Phoenix. Didn't he used to be Leaf Phoenix? And then he was Joaquin after that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think he changed his name. Let me see. I'm gonna look that up with my Googling fingers. I love Google. Yeah. Interestingly, I think It says he changed it back to Joaquin at 15, but if I recall, he introduced himself as Leaf. I mean, I don't have any other reason why I would know that his name was Leaf Phoenix. It was, in fact. He called himself Leaf Phoenix until, it says here, until he was 15 years old. When was he born? 74. 15 would have been 89. I saw him in 91. Here's my claim. I'm going to dispute this. I'm going to say that Joaquin Phoenix was referring to himself as Leaf Phoenix as late as 1991 at the age of 17. That's my claim. That's my claim. Everybody hear that? Nobody's paying any attention to my huge claims here that I'm making. This is huge, gossipy, big news. Was Joaquin Phoenix lying when he said he stopped referring to himself as Leaf and started referring to himself as Joaquin at age 15? Yes, because I met him as Leaf Phoenix, and it could have been no other year than 1991. In 1991, Leaf Phoenix was 17 years old. Coincidence? Happenstance? I don't think so. This smacks of conspiracy. Yeah. Well, Joaquin Phoenix is actually the original poster child for the word gaff. When I was one day trying to explain what gaff meant, technically it stands for gay AF, But I said, here's the best example of gaff. Joaquin Phoenix. Joaquin Phoenix is extremely gaff. What does that mean? He stinks of FI. I don't know how I can put it. He absolutely stinks of it. As though he had been wallowing in a pit full of FI all day long. Can you smell it on him? I can. So anyway, my point is, there's certain things I like to shit talk. I like to shit talk Joaquin Phoenix. I like to shit talk the Dave Matthews Band. I like to shit talk Bill Walton. And here's the one that really hurt, though, from earlier. Somebody said something, but it really hurt my heart when they said it. They said, this music belongs in something. It's another thing that I think is terrible. Scrubs. Somebody told me today that my music sounds like it should be in Scrubs. I fucking hate Scrubs. I was like, ouch. Why'd you just punch me right in the face, whoever said that? Just punch me right in the face. Why don't you say, this music sounds like it would go great with a bowl full of diarrhea? That's not very complimentary either. Why don't you say, this would be a great opening band for the Dave Matthews Band? This band would go perfect between Kings of Leon and the Dave Matthews Band. No. Bob Dylan's awful too, yes. Reese Witherspoon did. While Reese Witherspoon may have a cleft chin, everybody has a cleft butt. Do you know why? Does anybody know why? Because it's cleaved in two. One cheek on the left and one on the right. Waldo Ludowski, that is a reasonable comparison to make for some of it. Yeah. No, ENTP really likes being compared to other things, but I get it because it's not like I can really listen to anything without doing some sort of comparisons. I was actually thinking about it the other day about the Living Tombstone. What would I compare that to? I have a hard time coming up with something to compare Living Tombstone to. It's kind of I don't know. I can't cleave your chin any more than you can dimple my cheek. Okay? If that's what you're asking me to do. If you're begging, please, Eric, please cleave my chin. My answer is not before you dimple my cheek, Mr. or Miss. So, Legends Fall, I want to explore your name a little bit more. Why do the legends fall? Do they fall because they've sat upon a precarious perch that was unwise for them to sit upon? Do they fall because you trip them? Do they fall because they've stepped in a gopher hole or something? Do they fall because they're going down to bow before some great awe-inspiring thing? I want to know. Legends of the Fall. What happens to the legends in the winter? Legends Fall. Do they change their name to become Legends of the Winter? A good movie. Never heard of it, I don't think. Oh, Vampires movie, huh? Vampires, yeah. I got two problems with vampires. Number one, they're dead. Number two, they suck your blood. It might seem those premises are contradictory. How can a dead thing suck your blood? Nope. That's one of the weird things about vampires. They fell because their grandparents and Life Alert commercials. Oh, I see. So not only did they fall, but they were unable to get back up. We can conclude both things then. You know what was a good movie? That one with that dude who went around and killed those things. I think it was called Van Heusen or something like that. Van Helsing. Van Helsing. I liked that movie. Van Helsing was a funny movie. If you've never seen it, I recommend it. It's not like genius or anything, but Brooke Shields was awful in that film. Well, perhaps it's time to re-rent Blue Lagoon. Was she in Blue Lagoon? Is Brooke Shields in Blue Lagoon? Anybody know? It's neither a vampire movie nor a chick flick. Blue Lagoon? You're right. It's a lagoon movie, Legends Fall, obviously. That's why it's called Blue Lagoon. It's best classified with the Lagoon Monster movies. Bela Lugosi was the man in that first Dracula movie. I want to pitch a movie, The Polar Express, but with vampires. So wait, you mean the children are vampires, or Santa and his elves are vampires? Butterface Brooke Shields? Who's Butterface Brooke Shields? Shields wasn't in porn, I don't think. You just sent me a game on Lightjust.com. I can't really play you right now because I'm not streaming in that fashion. So I feel like I'm doing a disservice to the participants here in the stream if I'm too focused on playing chess. They can't even see what I'm doing. I think Brooke Shields is very attractive. Where it's like she was an example of a very attractive female when I was young. She was sort of like one of the famous, like, beautiful women. Like, who was another one from back then? That one lady, I don't know, famous 70s beautiful ladies. Like, I remember when, what's her name? Cindy Crawford first emerged as a model, and also Kathy Ireland. I remember thinking when Kathy Ireland was on the swimsuit edition of Sports Illustrated, I was like, I'm gonna buy this one. I think I don't normally get this, but what? That girl is. She looks so dumb and sexy. I think that's what I'm talking about. Kathy Ireland. She's kind of got that like. All the blood is in my tits. Kind of look about her. None of it makes it all the way to her brain. Very little. I might be thinking of a different one. Maybe her name's not Kathy Ireland, but I could picture her in my head. I know what I'm talking about. It's like kind of maybe it's a famous Sports Illustrated cover. I could Google it right now. Let me see. Let me see who exactly it is I'm talking about. Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue covers. Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue covers. All right. Let me see if I can find it. This is hard work I'm doing here, folks. Real hard work. Laboring here at the old YouTube offices. I want it by year, though. Maybe I should put in like 80s. 1980s. Okay, so like, here's some of the people they had. Christy Brinkley. Yeah, Kathy Ireland. I was right. That's the one I was talking about. What year was this? I don't know. And then who's this lady? This lady looks famous. I forget her name. Oh, Elle McPherson. Christy Brinkley in 1980 looked good. Wow. Is this, who is this one? This one. Yeah, this is the one that I like best, those Kathy Ireland. Like, I'll put a couple of Kathy Ireland pics up for you. Or let's see. This girl Hannah Davis looks like such a moron in this picture. Oh my gosh, my bathing suit's partially falling off. Whoops. I totally remember these Kathy Ireland pictures. I must have rubbed it out to this particular swimsuit issue or something. Because I'm quite sure I wouldn't remember the swimsuit design on Mia in any normal context. 61 hot pictures of Kathy Ireland. Which will make you drool for her. Okay, so if you say the 1980s featured nothing at all, okay? If you're trying to say that there's nothing good at all in the 1980s, well, then you weren't a teenage boy in the era of Kathy Ireland. Good old Kathy Ireland. Winner of the most Kathy Irelandish you can imagine. Wait, that's not 61 pictures of. God damn it. Well, I just look at that one picture there. This is a misleading. Oh, I see. It's one of those kind of things. Oh, no, it's not. It's fine. You can scroll down and you can see them. You can skip all the text and stuff. Let's see. Which is my favorite Kathy Ireland picture? Rachel's fast asleep right now, so this is an unusually safe conversation. I can hear her snoring over there. It's just unusual. I mean, she's really asleep. Look at that one. Okay, which one do I like best? Let's see. I'm guessing that she's named Kathy Ireland because she's from Ireland. But I could be wrong. I don't want to see the recent pictures of her. 1980s only, please. I want no old Kathy Ireland, please. Can I extract the old Kathy Ireland from these pictures, please? I mean, she does still look quite good, actually. But I think the winning one is number one. That's the best one there is. Number one right there. Kathy Ireland, look at you. Okay, so if you scroll down, you will enjoy number one. I think you'll all agree number one's the best picture. But, if you want to spend some time searching your own Kathy Ireland pictures, be my guest, obviously. The internet's a free country. And additionally, you're pretty cool. That's a rarity. You're not going to hear that very often. She's very FE second slot. So it's like, no, there's no nakedness. It's just pictures from the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issues. And actually, a lot of the later ones are just Kathy Ireland at like photo shoots at like whatever. But there's no nudity. The thing is, when you start looking at something like that, like, oh, I want to look into this here, this Kathy Ireland in a bikini thing. Well, if you're not live streaming, you are 5 minutes away from, watching somebody choke on the, it doesn't take long to transition from curiosity about some particular bikini clad model to hardcore pornography watching. And then back to normal things again. The whole process takes about 8 minutes from start to finish. But not in this instance, because obviously now is not the time to open an incognito window. I like to have all of my windows cognito when normal life is occurring. Number one is like, it is Rachel snoring. I'm glad 3DR Nomad. 3DR Nomad followed the warning, and 3DR Nomad did not dare not to watch the live stream. I appreciate it. It's part of what makes him an extraordinarily special lady. Rose Moose, what up? In 5 years, will COVID porn be a new genre? It'll be a subgenre of doctor porn. So, now instead of going to the doctor specifically to have their lady parts examined, they go in for a COVID test only to learn that the doctor can't get a good swab from the nose, and he's going to have to swab a deeper pocket of moisture. And this little cotton swab isn't gathering enough of it. He's going to have to put something other than a cotton swab up into the larger pocket of moisture. And pornography ensues. Is understanding dealing with politics an NE thing? It seems like there are so many consequences to consider. I can't decide whether a policy is sound. Obviously, there are obvious exceptions. Well, I mean, I will say, Rain, I think it helps to have TI be an instrumental value. and to E be an extra more value and counter value. So, you know, what's valued instead? NI, NE, and FE, FI. So it allows me to do the job, basically. I'm trying to do the best for everybody. That's NI, FE. And I think I got a lot of good ideas that haven't been tried before. Have a good chance of working. That's NE. NE is not great for conspiracy thinking. NE is great for dismantling conspiracy thinking when it's inappropriate. Lauren McGinley, hello. You know, condoms are to the pornography industry as masks are to the general populace. Sometimes required, and always worse when they are. Can you explain how to distinguish SI and NI, please and thank you? Well, SI is a way of knowing things that references past experiences. It's also a way of knowing things that experiences bodily sensations in real time. So SI and NI are both functions where it's easy to establish examples and explanations of how they work as turn-based and how they work as real-time. It's not always the case, but with NI and SI it is. So in real time, SI is going, this bath feels so good. I'm going to go lie in bed. Oh, yeah, it feels good. This food tastes delicious. Oh, this drink is so thirst quenching. And in turn-based time, it's like, okay, so I got this 4:30 thing with Rachel's brother we got to do. It's a video conference, not with just the brother, but with the whole family because it's his brother's birthday. Then at like 6 o'clock, we're going to eat dinner with my dad. At 7 o'clock, I got a debate with Jeffrey. I'm keeping track of that on an ongoing basis throughout the day. That's SI metaphysical, okay? That's SI operating in a turn-based time. NI, in contrast, is in real time, it's like if you're a hunter-gatherer, because, you know, hunter-gatherers are highly, highly important in every consideration of things about human beings. But if you are a hunter-gatherer, then and you're sitting there with your bow and arrow, right? And you see some deers over there. The deers are kind of walking towards you. They're kind of taking their time. Now, here's the thing. You want to be in a state of NI readiness, which means you're just chilling. You're just quiet, silent, still. And then you know the right moment when you slowly pull it back, rise, and release such that the deer is close enough so that you're going to hit it. The motion is smooth and fluid enough and quiet enough that it doesn't startle it when you move to shoot it. That the release point is exactly the right moment when they're closest to you. And so you maximize your likelihood of success. NI has links closely with SE in that it's that coordination of time and space that causes you to hit your target. NI on the metaphysical level, which is to say in turn-based, where it's most naturally occurring, is the kind of thing that takes disparate clues and draws singular meanings from them. So it's most simply described as Sherlock Holmes walks into a room. He sees a fly swatter over there by the window. He sees a locked bureau with the key still in the keyhole. And he sees a smudge of coal dust on the corner of the drapery. And he goes, aha, it was the carriage driver who was guilty who did this. I can figure it out because my NI has put one and one and one together and realized not three, but some larger thing. So NI in that regard is synergistic, but you could also say it's identity based. NI knows what something's identity is. You just emailed some moist pictures? Oh my gosh, thanks. Jeebus? I don't really want to direct my energy to you right now. You kind of seem like a drag. You know what I'm saying? Which type is most likely to get kicked from the server being a spawn camper killer? A spawn camper? I'm not sure what a spawn camper is. I don't know what that is. But I think the TI sees implications for NEC's possibilities. TI likes to... TI parses things out. So it determines whether things make sense or not. Whether they are logically defensible or not. Well, Lauren and Nicole, I'm trying to be quiet because Rachel's sleeping over there, snoring. So I'm kind of trying to talk like extra meow, so I don't wake her up. She's having a nice nap. I rarely get to see her enjoy a nice nap. Maybe that's what you're picking up on. I did see my mom today also in the morning. I am kind of tired as well. But seeing my mom always is heavy, sort of. And sometimes it's a delayed reaction a bit. More or less the same. Here, I'll share with you guys a video. You can see for yourself. Let's see.
He's so tall.
So, Mom, these are some lovely agaves here. So left of us, or left of me, to the right of you. Mom.
Jane. There you are.
Yeah, camera's rolling. I'm sorry. People go, so how's your mom? Oh, here, you can watch a short video. Put it this way, Legends Fall. If you see an object in the distance and you conclude it's a turtle, because there's a lot of turtles around here, you see them every day. And you're wrong. It's actually a rabbit. It's SI. If you conclude something's a turtle, despite the fact that nothing to do with ever seeing turtles around here, and you're wrong because it's actually a rock that looks like a turtle, that's NI. I guess make it a rock in both cases, it doesn't matter. So it really depends on why you think it's a turtle. Like, on a more metaphysical level, you could reference the fact that the story that about our chicken getting attacked by a dog that didn't get in through the open gates, okay, but rather pushed through a loose board in the fence, and that thereafter a top priority was preventing dogs from attacking the chickens, even though what happened would not make an NI person think, oh, this is going to be a serious ongoing problem. So the thing about that is, like, once again, you can see it's when they do find a turtle, they assume that thereafter everything's a turtle if they're an SI. Where an NI person is going to find a turtle and then they're not going to assume the next thing's a turtle. I handle it well in the vid. Oh, my mom? That's not really to handle. We're just taking her for a walk. My stream cut out just as you answered. That is after asking the question like 6 times in various streams. What was the question? Oh, I'll answer it again. So it really depends. The point is this. Number one, it depends on why. Let's say you think something's a turtle in the distance. You get up there, you walk up to it, and you realize it's actually a rock. Now, if you think it's a turtle because you know there are a lot of turtles around here because you've seen them here before. And whenever you see something that looks like that, it's a turtle, more or less, you know. So you're not just going to mistake a rock that looks a lot like a turtle for a turtle. You'll mistake a rock that looks a little bit like a turtle for a turtle. You might even mistake other things that are not rocks for turtles. Okay. If you know there are a lot of turtles around here and anticipate seeing them from past experiences. If you mistook the rock for a turtle because it looked like a turtle, looked a lot like a turtle from a distance, and you get up there and you go, oh, it's just a rock, and it had nothing to do with your previous experiences, then that's purely an NI thing. Now, what that would tell us is the following. If you put a rock that looks like a an iguana, okay? You put a rock that looks like an iguana in an area where people are accustomed to seeing turtles, okay? Where there are, in fact, turtles walking around, that an SI type is much more likely to see the iguana rock and go, mistake it for a turtle. And the NI type is much more likely to see the iguana rock and go, that's an iguana rock. However, it's also the case that if an SI user one time is, let's say, has one time gotten food poisoning someplace and has made done a lot of work to remember precisely what they saw when they had that place going on when they got that food poisoning. And I don't know, Jason Six. I don't know what you wanted. So what was I saying? God damn it. Aren't jazz hands hilarious? Jazz hands make me laugh. Okay, what was I saying? Something about SI and NI. So you could also say that if somebody gets food poisoning, the SI person might notice that the a couple of things like the sweat of the cook dripping into the food, and some like the employees' drinks near the food or something like that, and then they might go into a restaurant later and go, I don't want to eat here because I think I'm going to get food poisoning. So the thing is, the NI person probably won't pick up on that. And in certain kinds of circumstances, I don't know if that's a very good example, but in certain kinds of circumstances, the SI approach is correct because the SI person definitely doesn't get food poisoning, and maybe the NI person does, right? So in that regard, sometimes it doesn't work so that the SI person is dumb. It's easier to come up with examples where the SI person seems dumb because they're extrapolating from past experiences without good reason. But it's also the case where the NI experience can be dumb. I mean, well, for example, actually, I've got a great example. Like when Rachel tries to determine if she's happy in our relationship by reading about astrology stuff, right? Instead of just going like, oh yeah, I am happy because I can tell because of my experiences. That's the equivalent of the SI person thinking the iguana-shaped rock is shaped like a turtle because they're used to seeing turtles around there, just sort of imposing their experience upon it, right? Imposing the universal on your experience is part of what the NI person does. There's lots of things that are best understood by experience. Why is why is Eric so quiet is better explained in this instance because Rachel was sleeping than because Eric's an introvert. So Eric's an introvert is a universal reason why I'm so quiet. Rachel was sleeping is a particular reason. So it's not that Eric was so quiet in this instance was representative of how Eric is in general. It was an accurate description of how I'm being right now. And why am I being that way? Well, that's important. A lot of people don't consider those questions when they're typing because they think they just forget the time factor as well. It's like a lot of affect shit changes a lot. Affect is one of the more variable aspects of what you might call personality, but I'd say a personality includes a range of affect and typicalities regarding affect, but no absolute clarities regarding it. Hi, Dad.
You busy?
Well, I'm streaming. That's fine. What's going on?
Well, I want you to look at this. Remember those, right?
It's a great photo.
Mm-hmm. It was professional. Remember?
Yeah, I do.
That's when Lacey made her remark. I'll never forget that. And then look at this. It looks like a different woman.
Yeah, well, she's got a long face here.
Yeah.
A longer
But I
face.
mean, if you look there, that's pretty much normal. I don't mean to keep.
You can come in here. It's fine. You're welcome to come in. I don't mean to keep you out. I'm just live streaming here.
Oh no, I just wanted to show her that she was down there. This was maybe 5 years ago.
That was not 5 years ago, Dad.
Oh, wow.
That was let's see.
Not much more than 5.
You're right, actually. That was 5 years ago. That was only 5 years ago?
It doesn't look like the same woman.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
See, I flatter myself. I look pretty much the same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really do.
I show the people the picture. This is my mom 5 years ago in this picture. I don't know if you can see her very well or not. With my dad. These pictures were taken on this like tragic last trip of my marriage that Candace put together for the purpose of taking pictures of it. But you know what? We did get some good pictures out of it.
Yeah, that's a good picture.
Maybe an ESFJ's parting gift to the family. She hired a professional person. It was nice. Good pictures. Yeah, it was cold. Remember how cold it was in that one meadow we took pictures?
I'm sorry?
Do you remember how cold it was in that one meadow where we were taking pictures?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was freezing my ass off.
We could have walked over. You're busy with streaming, that's fine. But you know the story about Lacey.
Yes.
Go ahead. But I mean, what you're talking about her, it's fine. Don't feel like you're interrupting anything, Dad. Go ahead and tell me which story it is you're talking about.
Well, the one that you got lost. And we were out in the boondocks somewhere in a dirt road, and you were sure you were going the right direction. And then we stopped, and you got out of the car and scratched your head a bit. And Lacey got out unbeknownst to anybody. And then we went back to the meadow, and guess where's Lacey?
Mm-hmm.
And whoa, then you hopped in the car, retraced your steps, and there she was sitting right there.
Waiting right where we had stopped to turn around. And just waiting
and
for us.
she looked at the car once or twice. The door opened. She hopped in. And it was like nothing happened.
Wow.
But do you also remember when Abby fell in the river? We had
I'm thinking, no.
we had 2 dogs.
Yeah, you did.
For a little while.
1.5 dog.
Yeah. And Abby was deaf and blind mostly, and old and like weird. I don't know. And there was a river, which is the Kern River, I guess, but it's up there in Mammoth. So I don't know if it's the Kern River yet or not. But
It wasn't the Kern, it was the Owens.
Owens River. Okay, Owens. And we were taking pictures out there by it, and the dog walked right up to the river. He's like walked right into the river, and then just was floating down the river towards Convict, towards Crowley Lake, Lake Crowley.
The trout would have loved her.
And just sort of looking like that. She kind of had longish ears, like kind of a basset houndish kind of dog, but some sort of mix, and just seemed very confused. And we had to chase. Abby! I ran down the side of the river and
had a net.
tried to wait for her to get close enough to the side and grab her and pull her out. And then she's, oh my God, I was in the river. I know, you idiot.
Yeah, I forgot that she was a half dog. Okay, I'll leave you to it.
All right, cool.
5:15 or so. Is that good for you?
Remember, we have a 4:30 to 5:30, so we got
Okay, after 5.
after 5:30. It's got to be between 5:30 and 7. Because I got a 7 o'clock too.
Okay.
Curious Kyra says, bye, Eric's dad.
Sorry?
Kyra says, bye, Eric's dad. Kyra says, goodbye, Eric's dad.
Kyra says, old man.
No, goodbye, Eric's dad.
Eric's dad.
Yeah.
She would be right in both cases.
As you can tell, of all of his senses, the sense of hearing is not his strongest.
That is the best way to put it.
Yeah. But, he's a wonderful dad. And, well, he's an ESTJ, but I'm not getting upset. You mean crying sadness times? Just recently found your video. You seem like a really wise guy with a real intuitive understanding of types. Love yours. Well, thank you, Conscious Conduct. What a kind way to introduce yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate it. I'm somebody who gets a variety of responses from people, ranging from skeptical to begrudgingly accepting to unrelenting hatred to positive stuff. It's nice to get the positive stuff. I get a lot of strange responses from people.
Okay, I have like 30 minutes.
Yep, you got 21 minutes.
21? Okay.
Rain says, "Host, could you clarify the external physical field versus the internal physical field? Where can one draw a justified line between the two?" Okay, so, well, for example, I can okay, well, observation and experience are concurrent within the internal field, and observation and it can occur non-concurrent with experience in the external physical field. So, in other words, I can't watch 2 other people doing something to make meaning of it. To the extent that we're going to distinguish between experience and observation, in that instance, what we'd say is simply observing, receiving information, and or ideating about it concurrently or whatever, does not comprise experience. The thing is, we have to distinguish between experience, meaning real time, and symbolic stuff, meaning turn-based. So if you're in turn-based kind of thinking, then you're not doing experience. So I'm not having an experience right now by that definition. I am merely engaged in turn-based word talkings, meanings, etc. The extent that I am having an experience, it's like I kind of feel like meow right here, right now, on the back of my neck, between the bottom of my neck and the top of my back, kind of like where this one bone is at the top of your spine. It gets like I want an endlessly big pillow that's always behind my neck that extends in size to whatever is behind me. So like right now, it would extend all the way back to the wall there, and I would have perfect support right here. Anyway, so that's an experience I'm having. But all this talking about it is not an experience. It's what you would call whatever it is. So in this case, it would be called ideating or putting information on the metaphysical field. So what I would say about then the external physical and internal physical is that if it's possible for me to observe without experiencing, then it's observe without experiencing, then it's on the external metaphysical field. Internal metaphysical field, it's either known or experienced. Known is not the same thing as observed because it comes unbidden but responsibly. Yeah, I'm not saying you can't have stuff happening on both fields concurrently. I'm saying that we can define the fields by whether or not experience is necessarily concurrent with observation. So in other words, on the internal field, I can know, internal physical field, I can know, or I can experience. In both cases, there's no observation. Knowledge is received information, unbidden and responsive, whereas feelings are experienced information, again, responsive and unbidden. Observation is metabolized information, gotten information. So if you're watching for something, you have new data coming in, and it's going to go through one or more frames and create meaning as it's coming in. But that's part of the observational process. And the internal physical field doesn't include the observational process because the internal physical field, the internal physical field doesn't include the observational process. The internal metaphysical field does, because the internal metaphysical field, you can observe static objects on the internal metaphysical field, no problem. The internal physical field is only experiential or knowledge. So it is the case that I can remember things that have happened and give them statuses and names and stuff. But when I do that, I'm referencing the internal metaphysical field, but I'm just it's just SI's relationship with the internal metaphysical field. So I guess that's the distinction I'd make, is that the internal physical field is experiential only, whereas the external physical field is observation or impact. If you're not impacting, you're an observer. It's a good question. It made me think a lot. I think that's the answer. I think it's the answer to all of our problems. I got quite a bit of meow left to meow today, but I think I better. I think I better jazzercise my dopamine receptors with one additional. I'll probably still sleep fine tonight. Last night I slept like a little angel, crossed with a baby, crossed with a log, crossed with a dog.
That makes me so happy.
Do you know why?
Why?
Because I ate a lot of edibles, and
That
but
helps.
by the time so Rachel and I got. Where's my coffee? Oh, I know where it is. Silly me. Silly Eric. So we do have at least one young child in the little pot right there. A special child. What kind of child? The kind of child that will grow into a full-fledged marijuana plant. We're going to let her get a little bit older, hopefully, before we give her a name. Now, if in fact it turns out to be a male, then we will have misnamed it. And we will mourn its death as we chop it down. Because male marijuana plants are like male human beings. I don't want to fuck them. Or smoke them. But female marijuana plants are also not like female human beings, because I don't want to fuck the female marijuana plants, and I don't want to smoke the female human beings. And therefore, my analogy is flawed. Peacock says meow indeed. Carmen's Pimp, sometimes I do feel tired right now, so it wouldn't be hard. But I feel tired right now, too. I'm not sure why. Bill Burkett says to replace the jazzercise with prancercise. I like it. What about fiercercise? That's the fiercest form of prancercise you can get. Because prancercise is full of panting guys. We got 10 minutes, okay? Oh yeah, there's a fair number of that don't get published. Probably about every other one doesn't get published, it seems. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah, I've been bringing in some little bit of money from the typing sessions now. I would love to make sufficient money from typing sessions to get ahead, I guess you could say. I don't feel like I'm getting ahead. No, I've had more of late than I had historically. I don't know. I don't, unfortunately, Cloud, I haven't really kept track of my, I do have it in Google Calendar, but I haven't counted them. Okay. Hey, girl. Yeah, I'm talking to you, girl. How you doing? Sup? I hear you like rappers. Is it true? If I told you had a nice body, would you say I was sexually harassing you? Am I impressing you, girl? Say you pick up on a girl at a bar, okay? Say, girl, did an angel die? Because you look like a dead angel, baby. Falling from heaven. See what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, girl.
That was romantic.
For shizzo. Yeah, girl. Thanks. I'm practicing. See, I'd like ideally this channel to help guys pick up on chicks. Ideally, that'll be its basic thing. So I'm working on some of the insight I can share with the homies. When you see a girl up in a bar, you got to look around first. How many guys are there around there? 10, 20? Are they cooler than you? If so, just go to a different bar. If not, then I want you to think this time I'm going to use ASMR when I pick up on this chick. Are you ready? Like this. You go up to her and go, "Hey, girl." Right in her ear. Make sure her ear gets moist from the condensation of your breath because it's so close to her earlobe. And you say, "You don't need to know my name, girl. I hear coughing's an aphrodisiac for you. Am I right? That's why I brought in this professional cougher to help me out. My wing lady. Coffee coughs a lot, okay? So anyway, like I was saying, you don't need to know my name. I'm just who I am. I'm me. You can just see me. You know who you get here. You get me. But girl, what's your name? Andrea. That's your name? I don't believe you. What do you mean? Let me see your driver's license. Oh, yeah. Nothing sexier than when I try to look at a girl's driver's license. 'Cause I don't believe her when she tells me her name. You don't really have a boyfriend? Really? What's his name then? Give me his phone number. I'm going to call him up and verify this.
That's it next to you.
Of course you can. This is like terrible advice for single men. Okay, so here's a good way to avoid discomfort. Start by saying, "Look, I already know you're going to reject me, but that'll work." Or say, walk up to her and just go, never mind, and then turn around and walk away. That's how the pimps do it, because then they'll come chase after you. Can you put this in the chair over there, please? Okay, try it. Everybody try that one if you're going to pick up on a chick. Other strategies include, "Oh, did I spill my drink on your face? I'm sorry. Let me clean that up." What do you mean I need a napkin? I can use my hand. It's fine. This is a good way to get into the touching part because you see, you go up to, you go, whoops, you spill a drink right in your face, drink right in her face. You go, "Here, let me get that. Let me clean that up." And that brings an immediate level of intimacy to the relationship. You're halfway there at that point. You've already rubbed your face. Make sure your hand's dirty. That way it tells her who's boss. Everybody likes being rubbed by a filthy hand. Yeah, everybody likes being rubbed by a filthy hand. Everybody likes being rubbed by a filthy hand. Everybody likes being rubbed by a filthy hand. It's true. Sean was telling me that just the other night. He's like, "Hey, Eric, can you dip your hand in this bucket of filth and rub my face with it?" I said, no, Sean, I can't. I'm sorry. Please? No. But your hand's so filthy, he said. I just said no. But then I said, okay, I'll dip my hand in this bucket of filth. And I did. And I took it out, rubbed it all over his silk blouse. He said, hooray! I got filthy hand on my silk blouse today. Hooray! My hand's so filthy dirty. Hooray! Filthy hand. Filthy hand. They call me MC Filthy Hand. My hand's filthy. I never wash. I dip it in a bucket of filth sauce and put it all over your face. Now your face is filthy, just like my hand. Filthy hand. This is my filthy hand. Everybody should keep one of their hands designated as their filthy hand. Just like in kind of Islam, except the opposite. It's not like you keep one hand clean. You especially keep one hand filthy. That's the whole point of it. Filthy hand. Don't make me touch you. Don't make me touch you with my filthy hand. Right. Exactly. It's a new threat in COVID time. Filthy hand's a good supervillain for COVID time.
Yeah.
He goes around, he doesn't wear a mask, he has a filthy hand. Cloud. So Cloud came over to me. He said, hey, Eric, can you do me a favor? Cloud came over to me. He said, can I get some over that filthy hand? I took my hand and put it in the bucket, dug up some filth, and then I said, bucket, rubbed it all over his face and his head. I said, there, Cloud, filthy hand for you. And he said, ooh, that feels so good. I love the filth all over me. You and your filthy hand, Eric. I dream of them every night.
I've seen them.
Mm-hmm. I know, Cloud. You wanted a filthy hand. You got it. We got to go. We got an appointment here. We appreciate your attendance to our live stream. And don't forget to churn some butter. Okay? It's always a good use of your free time. If you bake a loaf of bread, fresh churned butter goes on it better than anything else instead of cream cheese or regular cheese or jelly or jam or even a big slice of ham. Instead, you want to put what? Some fresh churned butter. Fresh churned butter. Yep, you gotta churn you some butter. Okay, remember that, everybody. That's today's news and information. Goodbye.